What's up, everybody? It's the Manic Paco. I'm posted up in the cut, in the cut like a bandage. Yeah. What's up, everybody? It's the Manic Paco, posted up in the cut like a bandage. You know, as usual, I got my co-host here, Gene.
What's up, Paco? What's up? Yeah, very, very keen for this one. Yeah, very keen for this one. Back to you.
Okay. Ronny, go ahead and say what's up to the people. You're back again.
What's going on, everybody? Back again.
And say your catchphrase, too. Say it. All right. You know what? We're just going to skip his catchphrase. I don't think he has. I thought he had one the last episode, I guess, you know. So we got a very special guest here.
Jumanji.
Put that away, Ronny. You know how I feel about that.
Okay.
Anyways.
Full disclosure. Pablo, we have done this for 3 hours now. This is our third podcast in a row. Okay. We're a little all over the shop at the moment.
You know,
it was deprived.
Yeah, it was a little miscommunication. But why don't you introduce yourself, Pablo? I know you're very famous, very well-known man as far as podcasting goes. Please give us your introduction and your catchphrase if you got one.
Right. Oh, you're too kind. This is Professor Pablo, repping the Broad Street Breakdown podcast. That's Vinny Paz Presents the Broad Street Breakdown podcast, live and direct out of Philly, PA, United States of America. It's good to be on the so it's a live stream?
Yes, it's Paco Power Hour. We're going live right now.
So we live and we're streaming, and then do you guys put it out like podcast later, or it's just straight up stream?
It's just on YouTube stream. I'll probably download the video and put it up later.
That's what's up.
But yeah.
So Gene, I know him for a minute. He asked me to be on the show. I said, hell yeah, man. I'm down.
Thank you.
I'm down to clown.
Wonderful. I appreciate it too, man. I'm a little starstruck, but you know, I love.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So basically, he's agreed to come on and talk about a classic album. Okay, and this album is "Fear of a Black Planet" by Public Enemy. Here's the cover right here. Basically, what we do, we discuss the cover, what our thoughts are on it, and then we get into the scoring system, if you will. So that's the cover. And now, go ahead, start it off, Pablo. Give us your thoughts on the album cover. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, when this thing came out, I loved it. I like sci-fi. I like something that makes an impact. It wasn't your straight up heads on the cover, which I do love. A posse photo. Black and white. I'm not really into the guns, but I get it. I don't really like weapons on my photos, but I get it. But this one was awesome. I loved it until one day my buddy and again, they were making this album. This came out before Photoshop, so keep that in mind. These people were doing this desktop publishing before all that with like multi-layer, plastic things, you know what I'm saying? With layers and stuff like that. So and like how they did like newspapers back in the day. So, but my one boy, his mom was into that. What she did for a living. He's like, when I look at this album cover, it looks like they like put the planets on a string. They created them and then took a picture of them on a string and then put the ship behind it. And I was like, fuck, man, now I can't unsee that. So when I look at this album cover, all I see is two balls like sitting on a string, like a model, how they would make the original Star Wars movies, and I'm like, fuck, I can't unsee that. But before that, to me, it was like almost like the best sci-fi movie poster. Like that shit was dope, man. Right. And what an impact that makes, where like you got the black planet next to Earth and it's almost as big and it's darker and it's on fire. Yeah. I mean, it sends a message, man.
It does. Gene, what are your thoughts on the album cover? Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is the first album I ever bought for myself. So it came out in 1990. So I would have been 13, full disclosure there, of age. And I knew the video for Fight the Power, the music video for Fight the Power. This was in New Zealand, yeah? And it was played all the time, definitely captured my attention. It was one of the best things I'd ever heard. I knew rap a little bit from License to Ill, Beastie Boys, you know, Walk This Way, Run DMC, Aerosmith, Fat Boys. But this was my first foray into serious hip hop and properly getting into it. I saved up my pocket money, which was literally back then $2 a week, because I wanted to buy a cassette tape. Went to the music store, saw this, and this cover just captured my attention, you know, because I was into the music. And I was into the message as well, as far as my young mind at that point, as you know, a white boy from New Zealand in 1990 could grasp such a thing happening in some place called America overseas. And it just caught my attention, you know, the colors and the image of the black planet circling, orbiting the Earth. And yeah, and it was and I just, when I picked it up, saw the cover, just had to buy it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Just wonderful. Ronnie, please give us your thoughts.
So when I look at it, it's definitely, so you got to think in 1990, there's a lot of albums that came out. You know, you got like DJ Polo came out, Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted. Everybody's putting their picture on the cover. You know, you got like Funky Technician. They wanted to set themselves apart from everybody else that was coming out at that time. You know, I think this is like their third album on Def Jam. You know, they wanted to set themselves apart, and they kind of started that whole like Afrocentric like rap like history that started in like the early 90s. But you gotta think they like set themselves apart, like Too Short, you know, Ice Cube. Everybody was just putting themselves on their front cover with a black and white photo with a gun, or them and their whole squad, and it looked like they wanted to go a different direction and kind of steer that thing of hip hop.
Wow, it's very insightful. You know what? I like the album cover. It looks pretty cool. All right, let's get into criteria one. Basically, we break it down in 4 parts. 5 points each. You could do half points if you like, oh, I want to give it like a 3.5 or whatever. And basically, we'll start it off with the lyrics. What are your thoughts on the lyrics, and what do you give it on a scale of 1 to 5, if you will? Pablo, please go ahead and kick it off, man.
The whole album is a riot album. It's something you want to listen to when you're about to have a riot, and I ain't saying a violent one. Could be, you know, non-violent protest. But I guess a riot is violent. But so I would say it's a protest record. It's a protest record. Every lyric set, you know, it's saying basically, here's the point of view of African American male. Here's how we're being perceived in America, and we want it to stop, and we don't see the need for it. And here's the reasons why. You know, we're respectable people, respectable businessmen, trying to get educated, trying to come up. And every time we do that, you knock us down and then say we ain't educated. So what's going on here? So it's putting a mirror to society and saying, like, look at yourself, and then look at us, and then say, well, like, let's just look, what, you know, like, we haven't done anything since the civil rights movement. Come on now. Like we've done tons of stuff. So I give it a 4.5.
4.5 in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Nice. Ronnie, give us your thoughts on the lyrics in this show, please.
So you got to think at that time, like, you know, NWA was out a while before then. Like in 1989, the FBI was like investigating all these, like, you know, oh, you're saying this on your album. They're trying to, like, you know, pull rap from the shelves because they're saying it was too violent. So I think to keep themselves relevant, they're like, well, we don't have to just rap about shooting and killing and violence. We can rap about like our message. So I give their lyrics at that time. I'll give them a 4. They weren't the most lyrically advanced people at the time, but they definitely had a strong message. And like the wave of hip hop that came after them, like, you know, Leaders of the New School and all that other stuff that they influenced after this album. I think their lyrics definitely influenced, not necessarily their message, necessarily the lyrics, but their message influenced a lot of hip hop after this album.
I agree with Ronnie. I wanted to get back to that. The lyrics weren't super complex and advanced. They were just really like trying to talk to you on like a 5th, 6th grade level. So it wasn't like you were listening to Wu-Tang where it's like triple entendres and you're like, oh my God, he said that and that meant like, it didn't mean that. It was a straightforward message.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Gene, go ahead. Take it away, man.
Yeah, absolutely. He was preaching from the pulpit, definitely. For me, again, 1990 in New Zealand, the lyrics, I mean, I was kind of aware of what was happening in America and in the world outside of New Zealand. New Zealand's very isolated, that sort of thing. There is racial tension there, absolutely, certainly not to the scale as it is in America. But certain tracks stuck out for me and their message. The main one was Burn Hollywood Burn, because I've always been into movies, always been interested in acting. I act now, have done for most of my life. And, I grew up watching movies and thinking they were movies and they were entertainment. This, was all good. This is what everyone likes, and everyone, was treated well and having fun making movies. But then that track in particular pointed out to me that no, it's not all good. Not everyone's equally represented. And Hollywood is not shit hot. Hollywood is just a big, nasty machine that treats people like crap and produces a lot of rubbish that doesn't really show what's going on. And that kind of blew my mind as a 13-year-old in New Zealand at the time. And again, it's educated me to what was happening outside in the world more than any type of schooling did. So the lyrics were very effective for someone who was outside of that world, outside of that socio-political history of America. And for that, I'll give it a solid 4, a strong 4.
Right, solid 4. You know what?
Yeah.
Which brings me to me. I think I would give it a 4 also. Like Pablo was saying, it's not super complex lyrics, but the way that the lyrics were delivered to it just makes you want to listen to it. Like as far as with the beat and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of catches your attention.
Uh-oh.
While we're waiting for him to come back, Ronnie said that this was
please.
the third release of Def Jam. It was not.
Oh, it was their second off Def Jam, right?
No. It was Public. You're saying, was it Public Enemy's or was it Def Jam's release?
It was a Public Enemy's third release, right?
Right. So it was Yo Bum Rush, Show Nation. Right. I get you.
Yeah.
I thought you said it was Def Jam's third release.
No.
There was no way.
Because they had the LL. They had
tons. I mean, they were in a lot of full lengths.
Okay.
And I was thinking about how I grew up, and I saw Def Jam logo for a minute before I got hip to Public Enemy. So I was like, what did you talk about?
Yeah, no, it was their third album.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Def Jam, yeah.
Nice
I'm with you. Yeah, I got you. Are you back, Paco? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It seems that I got cut out of my own show. Sometimes the thing likes to hate on me, but you know
got
what?
Your cat's biting on your internet cable, man.
Pablo, I hate cats. I do not allow them around me. I have an allergy to cats, and it's not good.
Me too.
Yeah,
I got no pets in my house.
I have no hesitation kicking a cat. Anyways,
I ain't gonna say that on TV, but I feel you.
Allegedly
is what I'm saying.
Do not co-sign. Carry on.
Okay, let's get into criteria part 2. The beat.
Hold on. You cut off there before you were going to you said what you felt about the lyrics. Please.
Oh yeah.
Reiterate.
Okay, hold on. 1 second. Let's go back a little bit. Basically, I gave it a 4 because I said I agree with Pablo. It's not super complex, but the message was delivered effectively. As far as the beats and the flow, the lyrics were on point for me. I give it a 4. If it was more complex, I probably would give it a 5. But just the way it is and the delivery it's just great. It matches with the beats and stuff. So that's what I give it a 4. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna keep it pushing. Gene, can you kick it off with the beats? What do you give the beats on the 1 to 5?
5, solid 5. No, absolutely. Terminator X's beats, like the use of sampling, layered sampling, the things that they were doing at this time, in terms of production is phenomenal. I'm a big Company Flow fan. Fun Crusher Plus, one of my favorite albums of all time. What Mr. Lend took a lot from this album. I think he took a lot from Terminator X in terms of layered sampling, like scratching, a lot of arrhythmical scratching, created a real kind of, it was almost industrial, the sound of this album, and it stands up really well today. I think this is one of the forerunners of alternative production in rap, definitely, certainly created a great foundation for advanced sampling, advanced production, and I think it's a little long, this album. If I was going to nitpick a little bit, it's over an hour. Yes, so it doesn't, it's not a struggle to listen to the whole thing. But if I do get the urge to skip certain tracks just to get to the better ones once it progresses to about the third quarter of the album. But because of how advanced it was, how complicated it was at the time, and how influential it was for later rap, I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay, that's wonderful. You know what? I'll give my thoughts real quick. Beats, I'll give it a 5 also, because unlike Gene, I don't think it was too long. It was long, but it didn't feel like that. I was driving from Tucson back to Phoenix. That's a 2-hour drive. So I listened to the entire album, and it just made the ride go real smooth. This is the type of album you could put on at a party, set it and forget it. It's just it really keeps you moving. You know what I'm saying? The beats and samples were great. The way it blends together, it's just phenomenal. I'll give it a 3. Ronnie, go ahead.
3 or a 5?
You said 5 at first.
I know.
It's his gimmick. It's his thing.
Hold on. I'll say, I did say 5 at first. But I want to take it back a little bit, just because I forgot about the interludes. While I was going on my little rant, I thought about the interlude. It kind of takes me away. If it would have just flowed like nonstop, would have been a 5. Mm-hmm. Then those interludes come in, they try to hit me to some stuff, So yeah, I'm just gonna drop it down to a 3 if you guys don't mind. But that's just what I feel. I don't like to lie a lot. Ronnie, go ahead and take it away. What are your thoughts on
the beats were good. You can tell it's one of the first albums that Rick Rubin produced it, or as partial producer on their first 2 albums with Def Jam. This one, it was just all the Bomb Squad. So that's all Chuck D's whole squad. And I get the direction he was going with it. The collabs on some of those beats, like that song with Ice Cube, it's I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't think it deserves. I mean, I'm not gonna say it doesn't deserve a 5. Obviously, what people believe, but I think it's a 4. At that time, like when I was younger, I was like 8, 9, 10, listening to it. It was very East Coast, and I'm very West Coast centric. So you could tell they're like East Coast, newer, new school beats at that time. So I'm gonna give it a 4. Yeah, that's it for me on that one.
Pablo, if you would delight us with your answer.
I agree with everything all you guys are saying. I mean, I'm probably just going to repeat it. If you ask a 19-year-old Pablo, I would say the beats are a 5. Listen, as a 49-year-old Pablo, I'm saying it's a 3. It's not boom bappy. You're right. They're very complex, multi-track beats. A lot of guitar, a lot of solos where you don't think they're in there, but they're just kind of, and it's not. You can't sit. This isn't an album where you can sit in the basement and smoke weed too. It's not that type of album. No. You got to be live, active, like you say. You're in the whip, cruising somewhere, man. You're gonna get there. Your boys trying to get wild. This is what the album's for. This is not just a boom back in the cut, and the beats are like that. They're like jazzy guitar band beats, and they're like. So unless and the tracks where Chuck's not like fast rapping. Or like Ice Cube's off it, it hits different. So I agree. I like the beats. They're definitely good beats, but they're not your traditional hip hop beats. And I'll talk about this later, but like you get to a point where you don't even know if it's a skit or a song. There's so many interludes and stuff like that. So I'm going to say right now I'm going to say 3.5 to be nice. To the Bomb Squad. I'm not trying to disrespect them at all.
The one thing too, like you can see the influence on like A Tribe Called Quest after that album came out. Like they have a lot of the same like beat patterns and beat styles, and they used a lot of those same like sample from that same kind of genre later on, like in A Tribe Called Quest, like De La Soul, like because they came out like 91, 92, like those albums that came after that. You can see the influence of these beats like on those. And I'm a big De La Soul fan, so you can see it from this album in those.
They're complex beats, man. There's stuff always going on, and right when you think you're in the rhythm of it, they switch it up.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with a lot of that. Let's go to part 3, the features. What are your thoughts on the feature? You know, Pablo, why don't you kick it off, man?
I don't understand the question because there's like 2 features on the whole album. Right.
This is the criteria. This is not just for this album.
I'm with you. Busting balls. Yeah, I mean, I even looked at I even read listened to the album twice because I was like, there's got to be more than this, but there isn't, right? It's Cube and Big Daddy Kane on Burn Hollywood Burn. But they're awesome. That song's awesome. Their verses are awesome. They're people that you wouldn't think meld together. I mean, I know Ice Cube recently went out there and got down with the Bomb Squad, so you would assume that he would maybe be on it, or that, but like 2 years ago, you wouldn't assume that he would be on that. And then Kane just coming out of nowhere, who's not a traditional battle rapper, you know, and this is what this verse kind of is, you know, it's like a Plastic Cut Fast. I mean, I know he was on the Symphony, but he was chill as hell on the Symphony, as he is on everything he does. You know, I mean, he can fast rap, but he's not like a battle rapper. And this verse was really like in your face.
Right. So, what would you give it if I had to say on a 1 to 5?
4.5. Both of them, Cube and Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
A whole album, it can only be like a 1 because you only got 1.
Yeah.
Right. But we're specifically speaking.
But the weight of the one song is pretty massive.
Oh yeah. Ronnie, please enlighten us with your opinion on the features.
I'm gonna give the feature a 5. You gotta think Ice Cube had just left NWA, and everybody was always comparing Public Enemy and NWA together. So in my mind, I was like, okay, he's doing this. You know, it was right before No Vaseline or right after? So he was like real, like trying to show NWA he can do whatever he wants to do without them. And I think Public Enemy kind of gave him that little platform to express himself on that song. And obviously, like if you're East Coast, especially if you're trying to promote on the East Coast, Big Daddy Kane, you can't make it bigger than that. Like on the East Coast at that time, it was Big Daddy Kane and LL Cool J were like the 2 like go-tos. So I think the people that they picked and the verses that they had, you know, on that one track are definitely I'd give it a 5 because I could still listen to that song right now and it'd still be relevant and still like I wouldn't be like have any shame listening to that like when my window's down rolling down the street here in Texas. So
and something also to bring up is back in the day, even to this day, guest spots are like a thing everyone thinks they need to do. So to have almost no guest vocals is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even with us with JMT, I mean, we were like scrounging up money. How can we get money to get such and such on a record? Or what, this guy said he'll do it, but his price is this. Well, we need features. We need features. Well, we had that ingrained in our head that we need features, and you kind of don't if you're strong enough. And these guys have no features but 2.
Right.
Who could get anybody, right? These guys are in Def Jam. They probably have a crazy budget, and these people want this record to sell. So let's get whoever's hot right now. You know, you could have got LL to do a lady song, and that would have sold just on the girl love song that he would have put on here. But they didn't. We're not going to do that. You know, we have a message. We have a message to tell.
And that title too, Burn Hollywood Burn. You got to think he was trying to leave California behind him. Ice Cube was done with NWA.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, like it just like whole everything like kind of meshed together on that track. It was a really good track.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna give the features a 5 because you know there's only 2 and they did what they're supposed to. You know, they came in and Ice Cube is my favorite rapper, so of course you know that track is my favorite. You know, just because of Cube. And I'll give it a 5 because anything that got to Ice Cube, but also you know just those they were dope. Gene, please save me. Do the features.
Okay. I'm probably going to get slammed for this, but full disclosure, can't fake the funk. I'm not an Ice Cube fan. I don't know if we've ever discussed this there.
I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. You tell me after America's Most Wanted, I'd say maybe.
Yeah, okay. The first album had something going on there. Yeah.
Flawless.
I don't think he's a bad rapper. Let me say that. Let me cover my ass here. I don't think he's a bad rapper at all. It's just just the sound of his voice. It doesn't do it for me. Yeah, that happens. You know, a lot of people like Bob Dylan. He's seen as one of the greatest rock people of all time. Can't stand his voice. Can never listen to it. Yeah, I'm not saying Ice Cube is to that level, but I'm just not a fan. Yeah, I know. Full disclosure.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not really fine, but I'll allow it.
Right.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I gotta be honest. Gotta be honest.
But I mean, if you say
Okay.
Pablo, what have you listened to lately of Ice Cube? I'd say nothing but America's Most Wanted.
Oh wow.
I go to the second now. What's a Death Certificate? Is that the second? I'll do those.
Yeah.
I'll do those two, and then I really fall off after that.
So I went to actually went to Ice Cube concert about 6 months back, and I forgot a lot of the like just how his rap and how his cadence and how he's like evolved from like the 80s to like now. Obviously he's not like now if you put something out, yeah, people are gonna listen to it and it's probably gonna play on the radio.
It's forgettable though.
It's for like a movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's I mean it's hard because you gotta think all the people that he's ghost written for too. Like he pretty much ghost wrote for everybody in NWA when NWA came. He pretty much wrote all of their raps. He wrote a lot for Eazy-E. He did a lot of stuff for Mac 10. He did some stuff for Dub C. He did some stuff for like Diddy. So he's written for a lot of different people. It's just it might not be his cadence that he so it's I don't know.
Yeah,
there is a bit of irony here that now Ice Cube is a mega, Hollywood star, and he featured on a track called "Burn Hollywood Burn." Not to be a dick, but
well, I think it proves that they got their point across, and maybe they made some change in the world. Right. There was a time where I think it was was it Will Smith and the other bull in colors, the white dude, Harvey Keitel. Maybe he wasn't in colors, but Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, he was.
Fresh Prince. They boycotted the MTV Awards because there wasn't a rap category.
Okay.
So they boycotted MTV Awards. Could you imagine now? I mean, I think the whole goddamn award show is rap, R&B. So I mean, they made a statement, and the point got across. It got across to the kids. It got across to the people that like.
Good point.
We want to be we want to be treated seriously. Absolutely. So they made a change, and then you can't dwell on it. If somebody makes a change and it corrects themselves, and you got to, so Ice Cube is like, all right, cool. Like, you're going to give me budget to make a movie about my hood and myself. And we're going to portray ourselves how we want to be portrayed. Let's do it. I just wish they would have greenlit a fourth Friday movie. Because I mean, the marketing plays itself. A fourth Friday movie, you have a whole month. You know what I'm saying? But they wouldn't give him the money to do it the way he wanted to do it. And now freaking Witherspoon's dead. You know what I'm saying? It's like Debo's dead. Like
Chris Tucker wants tons of money now to do it.
Yeah, they like ruined it, man. They had it.
Right.
No, good point. And to attempt to dig myself out of my hole here, Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane.
Here we go. Go ahead.
But no. I agree with you, Paco, 100%. He kills it on this track. Yeah. His verse. I was listening again tonight to this album, and I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?" That was Big Daddy Kane. He just spat that. He just spat that verse, and it was incredible. With that, I'm going to give it. I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. For more on the strength of Big Daddy Kane's verse, but taking note of everything that you've said there, Paco, like how change was made with this album, and in terms of Hollywood, this track could have had a decent amount to do with that.
I don't remember saying that, but yeah, of course.
I said it. He's trying to give you credit.
Sorry.
That's not okay. I give credit.
Again, it's 3:30 in the morning. Forgive me.
Hey man, we did BSB podcast. I know exactly what you're saying. We started at 11 p.m., ended at 4, and I go to work at 8 a.m. So
right,
I know all too well.
Yeah, you just gotta love it, man.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Pablo,
so we're gonna keep it pushing. If Gene will allow us, we're gonna keep it pushing. Criteria 4, the hooks.
Please
you know what? Why don't you keep it? Why don't you, Gene, do the hooks?
Oh, the hooks. I always struggle with the hooks. But the hooks are good in this, and it's to do with the simplicity, but the power of the delivery, putting across the message. Flavor Flav, okay, yeah, he worked for the group as a hype man, yeah. Am I going to say he's a great MC? No, but he was a great hype man, yeah. Chuck D, though, one of the greatest MCs ever, definitely. And putting across this type of message, he had the voice for it, yeah. And this came through in the hooks as well, in the lyrics and the hooks. It just hammered home the message, yeah. So Fight the Power, obvious track, yeah. So for the hooks, I'm going to give it a 4.5 for the hooks there, Pablo.
The hooks are great. The hooks are great. They complement these crazy complex beats. The songs, it goes well. The whole album, it flows like a story being told. This whole album. I can't pick out any right now just because there's so many, and there's so many between the interludes and the songs. It's just all over the place. But when you're in that song, it's awesome. I'm gonna say 4 or 5.
Cool.
Ronnie, would you mind elaborating on hooks?
I'm gonna kind of tag off of what Gene was saying, like Flavor Flav, just his delivery of some of the 911 is a joke, some of the way he he doesn't have big parts of the album, but those parts that he does have puts that message across. And then Chuck D always knows how to it just feels like he, even though this was only their third studio album, it felt like he knew exactly what he was doing when he's putting all this album together. And I don't know how long they spent on this album, how long they were in the studio for, but it feels, when you listen to it, the way they put it together and their titles, their, hooks, everything just makes sense. And the way, like you said, the way it flows, it just, once you're done with one song, you got to keep listening. You got to finish. You just can't just play one song and you're done with it. You got to listen to the album from cover to cover. So hooks, right. I'll give a 5 because a lot of those hooks are still you got to think other hip hop artists and other rappers today are still using parts of what they said in their albums today to stay relevant. So
yeah, that's true. You know what? I'll go ahead and I'll give the hooks a 4. They were great. The way they blended together and everything, like Ronnie said, it keeps your attention. You just want to hear the whole thing. You could set it and forget it, if you will. Hooks were great. I'll put a 4. All right. So basically, oh yeah. I got all the scores here. Pablo, let's see here. 4.5 plus 3.5 plus 4.5 plus 4.5. What is that? I'll get a calculator.
It's called by calculator. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Trying to make me do math in my head. You're out of your mind.
What?
Well, just.
And you didn't even tell me you didn't tell me I was counting. You were just talking, so I wasn't even doing the calculation in my head. I already forgot the first 2 numbers.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
Trying to make me look dumb. Congratulations.
No. Look. Just talk. Say something funny or something, and
I've been doing that. What are you doing? You should have been calculating as I'm busting your balls.
All right, go ahead. Say one of your classic jokes.
Say one of my what?
What happens at the end of this? We're adding them all up, and then whoever gets the highest number wins a cash prize.
Yeah, cash prize, absolutely.
Yeah,
Australian dollars, not American.
We just like to see what it is,
What's Australian dollars called? Kronos, or what are their dollars called in Australia?
It's Australian dollars, AUD.
Oh, yeah. So it's the word dollar. You stole that from
the
British?
word dollar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same as in
Damn. Stole that. Yeah. Well, you robbed that from the British.
All right. So
go ahead. What's my number? 9. It took you forever.
Okay.
10 hours.
I don't know.
Got
The
up 4
connection's
numbers.
bad for some reason. But anyways. Right here, 17.
Amazing.
That's what
it took 10 minutes to add 4 numbers.
Look, I still gotta add up everybody
Maybe
else's.
put that blunt down for 2 minutes so you can add these numbers up.
Look, I've been up since yesterday, so I'm a little rusty.
All right, so you're on something different. I get it. So I got a 17. Is that what you said?
You
17
gave
out of
the
20.
album a 17. You didn't get it. The
I'm with
album
it.
got 17.
I'm with it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically, that's a pretty high score. What are your thoughts on that?
What 17 out of what? Again, you're not telling me these rules.
17 out of 20 because the max is 5.
It's pretty. I know. Again, I'm with it. All right. So 17 out of 20. That's pretty good. I mean, it goes with what I believe.
Wonderful. Ronnie, give me about 4 minutes. I'll get
this bull got an abacus in the background trying to add up.
No,
you have all the technology in the world. You can't add 5 numbers up.
Right, but it's the 0.5 is throwing me out. See, Ronnie got an A.
that's a bad excuse. The 0.5 is throwing me off, man. I'm gonna put that on your tombstone.
Ronnie, please.
I gave it a 17.
No, you gave it an 18.
Add it up. Actually, give it a
so quick. You don't got no 0.5. Go ahead.
But my bulldog's barking. Sorry. No, I mean the score. I don't really think shows the impact that the album actually had. Like if you go with impact on like hip hop and rap in the culture, it's definitely a 5. Like, if you had to add that, like what the influence that album had on albums to come and artists to come, especially out of New York, it's a 5. Like obviously, what an 18. It's not a perfect album. I don't think any album could really be a perfect album. I mean, in our mind, we might think one is, but yeah.
I mean, Nation of Millions is a perfect album, except for Fight for Your Right to Party.
Yeah.
It would be the best album ever made ever if that song wasn't on there. So, I mean, you can't get perfection. It's just impossible.
Okay. You do think that album is better than this one, Paco?
Nation of Millions is one of the best albums ever made ever.
Okay.
In any genre, at any time, it won't be beat. It can't be beat.
Okay.
It's that good.
I think the only album that could rival that would be License to Ill. Like, I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan, like till the day I die.
It is, but in the context of the songs of the frat boy partying, a Beastie dude will always go to Paul's Boutique, and so will a hip hop head, as far as like putting Beastie Boys on a pedestal. Now, again, if you play it back to like your 12-year-old self, I mean, License to Ill was on 24/7.
Yeah.
And it was a crossover album. I mean, when you can cross over like that, that's just like.
Yeah,
you've hit it right mentally, physically, and monetarily, and then you can do whatever you want. Hence, they made Paul's Boutique, and it was a big flop. Up until
they're saying they have a lot of unreleased songs that are possibly going to get released either this year or next year.
The Beasties,
they have some albums or some tracks that I guess Adams had somewhere hidden and like been holding on to that they may possibly release this year.
That's crazy. From that era, the License to Ill or Paul's Boutique era?
Just like from their whole career before.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to that and seeing when that's going to happen. But I heard that probably sometime last month that they were thinking about going into production and like putting these tracks together to see what comes. I want to see what comes out of that.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, 20's the highest and 18's just right there before it, so
pretty good.
I think it's a good representation, if you will. Basically, I added up my score while you guys were talking. I got 16. Okay, I never really listened to Public Enemy. Back in the day, like I said, I was mostly listening to Ice Cube or Proper Dose or something. You know what I'm saying? So 16 is good representation of how I would feel. I can tell it's an important album just by, the content, the lyrical content, and even the sound. It's a good sound.
I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, you buy the Sphere of a Black Planet now, it's not going to have the same impact.
Right.
It's going to have for the era it was and the age we all were. It hit hard. So if you hit it late, Paco, then you're like, it's all right, but it's not like. I mean, this album had white people buying African medallions and wearing them on the streets. Man, it was like people were all on board. Man, they were on board for the effort. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So I think 16 is a good reflection of how I feel. I understand that it's important, and I wouldn't give it any lower of a score because of that. And because it made me feel, it made me want to just party, if you will. But the lyrical content is like, it's very serious,
Very.
you know, and it's so it's kind of like, should I dance to this or should I listen, or you know what, we'll do both.
There's only a couple of songs you should dance to on this album.
It feels like the whole thing I was like wanting to dance, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, maybe after a Black Panther rally, maybe.
You got to think like at that time you had a 2 Live Crew trying to come out. NWA was big. Everything was like all about groups, but they set themselves apart from NWA. They weren't putting out the same message, you know.
Mhm.
Like NWA was anti-police and like super like, you know, whatever. But when they did their song, you know, they did it so that they could release that message to everybody else without getting super censored. You know, 911 is a joke is a better title than Fuck the Police.
Right.
You know, so
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
they could play that, you know, on the radio. Probably they could, you know, it could get released in a record store without getting censored.
I mean,
So-
911 as a joke was a huge hit too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you got to think like
Yeah.
that. They were smart about how they distributed their music, and how you could just give that, you know, credit to Def Jam too. And like, okay, hey, they may have wanted to title it differently, but Def Jam's like, no, we want to put this out and get it mass distributed. We're gonna have to work on your titles and everything else. So,
Right.
you know, props to them.
Right. And I appreciate your long-winded response because I was able to add Gene's score. Gene, you got 17.5.
Correct. Yes, correct. Absolutely.
Why? Can you go ahead?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, like, if you had asked 13-year-old me, this was a 20 above. Yeah, because this was the most amazing piece of music I'd heard at the time. Well, certainly it was the most different piece of music I'd ever heard at that time. I'd never heard anything like this. And it doesn't impact the same way today. No, still really appreciate it. Loved re-listening to it. Absolutely. 911 is a joke. Was a big hit. And it was a big hit in New Zealand at that time as well. Yeah. As was Fight the Power. And this is what the beauty of this album was, because you could, future songs that, you know, were more partyish, you could have more of a fun time too while delivering a serious message. Then Fight the Power, which was all a serious song delivering a serious message. Please.
I bet Ronnie's going to have the answer to this, but I don't think Fight the Power was originally on this album when it first came out. I think it was on the Do the Right Thing soundtrack. And then when this album was re-released, because why would that song be would be the last track on this album? Like, there's no way someone would put that there. So you could add Fight the Power to this conversation, but really in the original release, I don't think this was on there.
No, because it came. Hold on.
And I think that movie came out around the same time. So I think they said put that on the.
It came out the year before, 1989.
Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, because it came out in July of '89.
Okay.
And it was, I think, 6 months before. And it was such a big hit when it came out that they put it on this album.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, because I saw the music video first before listening to the album, so that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, that song was, oh my God, that was huge.
Yeah.
It still is huge.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a landmark album for, you know, like culture and of my own history. 17.5 thousands of years later, re-listening to it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy with 17.5. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you know, that really concludes the whole album review. I think we really
favorite tracks.
Welcome to the Terror Dome is one of the best songs they ever did.
Yeah.
Anti-N-Word Machine and Burn Hollywood Burn are solid. And then what's the other one I like? I mean, Can't Do Nothing For You, Man, 911. I love Flavor Flav. I was just been a big fan of him forever for different reasons. You know, I don't go to him for hip hop rap. You know, I go to him for tomfoolery, you know, but I love him and respect him as an artist and a performer. And when I say artist, I mean more than hip hop. I mean like a actor. Like he's giving you a show when he's putting you on.
Yeah.
What's the other song? There's another song on here. It's really banging too. Brother Gonna Work It Out's tight.
Can't Do Nothing For You, man. That's
no, man. That's what I'm saying. Flav just delivers. He delivers on this album, you know. I mean, and they're giving him 911's a joke's like the first real song on this album, and it's Flavors. So it's almost like when Tribe let Phife Dawg run that whole album.
Yeah.
Like it's like It's just showing that we could be strong. Either one of us could be strong if we want to.
Mm.
And Flav did 911's a joke. It can't do nothing for you, man, which is also huge too.
Yeah, which I would say would be my favorite tracks. Either the 911 is a joke or the Can't Do Nothing for You, man. Probably leaning more towards Can't Do Nothing for You, man, because I think I've heard it a bunch of times prior to hearing to this entire album.
I mean, and that's gone into like the lexicon of people too.
Right.
Like, people say that all the time, non-hip hop related.
Yeah.
When you're crossing over into different worlds now.
Yeah.
Non-hip hop fans are saying that, you know.
Well, like you got to think, like after that, you know, Leaders of the New School came out, like probably a year and a half, 2 years after that. And it was three of them. Everybody was trying to copy the 3-man group. After that, because you got to think before them, like everybody was in the 4s and 5s. You know, like NWA, Fab Five Freddy, like everybody, they shrunk it down. You know, Two Live Crew came out with 3 people. You know, it was just. They made it so that, you know, those 3 people could still shine on a 3-minute track instead of putting 5 minutes and giving everybody like 45 seconds. So
my also final thought on this album is I actually saw this tour when it came through Philly.
Seriously.
So it was, I looked it up too because I can't, you know, these websites have everything. So it was July 6, 1990 at the Philadelphia Spectrum, which is now the Wells Fargo Center. It was Public Enemy, Heavy D, Digital Underground, Chill Rob G. I think Latifah, it might even been Latifah was supposed to be on, but wasn't, and then Vogue was supposed to be on, but they were off on this leg of the tour. So we got Chill Rob G, who was awesome, who got robbed by that Snap dude because they had the song Power, they had the same beat.
Yeah.
That controversy. But Chill Rob G, awesome. If you hear any other songs, they're awesome. Dude got robbed of a career. But so, of course, we can't afford good seats, so we're like stage right, top row, nosebleeds, touching the stage almost, but all the way a million feet up. So when Digital Underground came out, they did a song, and all of a sudden, Shock G runs behind the stage, changes into Humpty, and comes out. And I saw it, and I was like, it was like seeing Santa Claus. Find out Santa Claus was fake. Like I was like, you kind of know that it's fake, but you still don't want to believe. And I saw the dude turn into Humpty Hump and then come out, and the whole crowd's going crazy. And I'm like, what are you going crazy for? I just watched him turn in, but they didn't see that because they had good seats.
Did was Tupac with them at the time?
I don't think so.
Because he came out like 92, right, or 91, I think.
I mean.
Something like
if it was, I wouldn't remember. I never thought of that. I can't believe you brought that up. Yeah, I never thought of that I actually could have saw Tupac live. And again, we were so far up, it was horrible. But before the show, we got there so early that Terminator X was like sound checking, and just his keyboard, he would hit one note, and it was like boom, 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 like it was, you know, because those sound systems are massive, and it was just like super impressive that like just one keystroke could deliver that bass boom. But yeah, I was, and that was the first time I ever bought a t-shirt that was like more than $10. It was like a $20 tour shirt, Fear of a Black Planet. And I was like, yo, this is what I saved all my money up for. But I was like, I can't, usually my shirts were like $8 back then. Whereas now every tour shirt is like $30. But like, you know, back in the 90s. So yeah, that was an awesome tour, awesome show. Could say I saw Public Enemy live in the heyday.
That's incredible. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, that's fucking great.
Yeah. So, Gene, did you want to tell us your favorite track, or
absolutely. No, if I may. If I may.
Oh, please.
Do it.
All right. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Agreed. One of the best hip hop tracks.
Best songs ever made. Yeah,
absolutely. Burn Hollywood, burn for everything that I've said. Yeah. I'll just go with those two. Yeah, Welcome to the Terror Dome and Burn Hollywood, burn.
Wonderful. That was a great. It was an okay album review. You know, I only listened to it like once. Like if I should have listened to it more times, but I just wasn't driving anywhere in a couple hours. Other than that one day, it was perfect timing for me to listen to it. It didn't feel as long as it says, like, because you know. On the YouTube music.
So if you're driving to 7-Eleven, you listen to no music?
No, I listen to Ice Cube or something, like, you know, like Predator or something.
So you have different albums for long trips and short trips.
Yes, because I take advantage of like because I go to Tucson frequently. It's like a 2-hour drive. I do take advantage of like albums that I can just listen to front to back. Like the new Billy album is something I can listen to front to back.
Yeah, multiple times on repeat. Yeah, on repeat.
Right. This is what the game needed.
Yeah.
Billy. Jesus, it's phenomenal. Album of the year. I'm just gonna say.
Oh boy.
But I know
it's strong. It's strong. I like it though. I like it.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I like what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I can't get enough of that album. But yeah, like I'll do that. I'll take advantage and listen to a whole album.
I'm with you.
You know, I don't want to be interrupted. You know, that's why if I go, you know, that's what it means. That's
okay. All right. I just want to see where your head's at, man. I'm not judging.
Wonderful. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Ronnie's a breakdancer guy, you know.
Oh, I used to be when I had young knees.
Tell me about it.
When I wasn't in my 40s, yes.
Yeah. Now he brings a whole new meaning to breakdancing.
What was your breakdance name?
I was Decipher.
I like that. I was Whiz Kid.
Because I was always the first one in the cipher because I was the youngest one in my crew. Yeah.
What was your troop called?
We were the Arizona Floor Assassins. They're actually still around in Arizona.
Dope. That's real dope.
Go out there, so yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was about
that's awesome, man.
25 years ago. So
that's great, yeah. You know what? Can we keep the show pushing just a little bit longer? Look, I got a segment called You Know What's Whack. It's a Paco's Power Hour original where we discuss what's whack. You know, something that might have happened to you or, you know, something that you think is whack. Gene, please start us off.
No, let's let our guest start us off.
Oh, Pablo, do you want to go?
I do.
Go ahead,
this is what's whack kind of falls into a Pablo Cheapo tip. So
nice.
I'm gonna give you a bonus.
Yes.
What's whack to me is napkin people.
Napkin people.
You know what napkin people are? So you go to Burger King, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, whatever, and these boys grab like 30 napkins.
Oh yeah.
And then they only use 2.
Right.
So what happens to those other 28? They throw them in the trash. It's a total fucking waste. It drives me absolutely crazy. So I take them home. And I have no respect for people that take, and I yell at them. I said, why'd you take 30? You only need 2 napkins, dude. If you needed 2 more, you get up and you get the other 2 napkins. I don't understand you. No. It's not like napkins grow on trees. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'm one of those guys who forgets the napkins. Yeah. You know, I'm like, oh, I should have grabbed napkins. I'm like, oh, well, I'll just use them.
And if you're going to take 30, then you better take the other 28 because that dude's going to throw them right in the trash. So take them and just put them in the whip.
Right. Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. If you're going to take the 30 to take them, you'll use them eventually when you spill your 40 in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Yep. So that's what's whack to me. Napkin people are whack.
You know what? And then we just go around and see if it's relatable. Is this relatable to you, Ronnie?
I have a stack of napkins in my glove box in my Jeep, but not 30. I'll probably take like 5 or 6, and if I don't use a couple, then I take them with me for a later use. I
like it, my man.
I have a 5-year-old that may need to blow his nose.
Exactly.
On our road trip, or he has to go to the bathroom on the side of the road because he decided to tell mom and dad that I got to go to the bathroom, and what am I going to use?
Right. Boom. Children are constantly in need of blowing their nose. It's disgusting. I just don't know where all the boogers come from. Gene, is this relatable to you?
No, it's not, because I am a napkin man. I'm sorry. Like, I'm getting a kebab, a donut, whatever you call them over there, yeah? And they'll give you 2 napkins. This is a grease-filled, this is a grease trap that you're carrying around, and they'll give you 2 napkins. And I say, no, give me more napkins, yeah? And I will take, and then if they're just there on a little thing and you can take off the counter, I will take plenty, because I don't want to waste, but I can't stand grease. I'm constantly dabbing my mouth. I'm constantly
but you're using them, right? You're using them.
I am using them, but I will use more than the average person.
That's fine. So, I don't have heat with that. I don't have heat with that. It's you grabbing 30 and then using 2 and then tossing the rest.
Right.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm a avid napkin user, but not a napkin waster.
Thank you. I like it.
All right. All good.
That's wonderful, Gene. Ronnie, do you got to, what's whack, dude?
Your enthusiasm, Paco, is popping me for this whole thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that one. So as a nurse,
go ahead. Yeah.
My biggest pet peeve is when you come into the room and the patient's going through the cabinets and the drawers, taking all the Band-Aids and the gauze, and you're just like, hey, what are you doing? And it's kind of like that Beetlejuice meme that's going around and just hanging around.
Yeah.
Like they're, I get it. Like health insurance is expensive, but sometimes I go in there and need a Band-Aid, and the patient that came in before you took all my Band-Aids, or I need gauze, and
my God,
the gauze is gone.
Wow.
But yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve as a nurse is if you're gonna go through the stuff, don't take all of it, please. Like, leave
Pablo, go ahead. No, Pablo, is this relatable to you?
It's not relatable. It's not relatable to me because up until like 4 years ago, I don't think this happened. Like maybe some like hood clinic, but like the spots at my house, you were like terrified to even look in drawers. But these motherfuckers keep you in there waiting for so long. I think the boredom gets set. And yeah, I'm gonna take a tongue depressor because I'm bored. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see what this thing tastes like. But I think it's crazy, and I think you're just gonna see everything being locked starting in the future if that keeps happening.
So that wouldn't be like a cheapo tip, no?
No, because there's a fine line between cheapo tips and being cheap that I can't explain. It either you get it or you don't.
Right.
The cheapness isn't taking something that's not yours or working a loophole. The cheapness is the cheapness is having something and then utilizing it to its fullest extent. It's almost like Resident Evil logic, where like you go into the room, there's a gun, there's a weapon, there's a map. You got to take all those things and then run with them. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of the cheapo logic that I live by. It's utilizing all the items that are in your possession.
Yeah, like peeing in the shower. Yeah.
Yes. You're killing two birds with one stone. Right, and you're saving on the water. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
But stealing the shower, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't pee in the shower, Paco.
I don't like you, Ronnie. Go ahead, Gene. Is this relatable to you?
Sorry, what am I?
Is peeing in the shower relatable to you? Is what he asked.
Absolutely, a daily basis. This was the nurse thing with the stealing the stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird thing to do, because you need to use that. It's for important things. It's not just stealing a couple of napkins. But I don't work in hospitals, and the jobs that I work, they're not going to steal anything. So no, to put it simply, without blathering, no. Yeah.
All right, that's wonderful. This is not relatable to me. So I'll just get into my it's whack real quick. It's whack. It's impatient drivers, of course. My last episode, I was talking about George Strait. I thought he was whack because his concert brought in so many people, and I had to drop people off at that concert. And just basically the traffic, I got cut off so many times. The line was long. It was just not cool for me. So basically, impatient drivers has whacked me, because I'm driving too. I got places to be. You're not the only one. I just hate getting cut off so much. Relatable to anybody. Go ahead, speak. Go ahead. Ronnie, is that relatable to you?
I drive in Texas. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know what that means. Right. Is it relatable to you?
And you got to think the border to Mexico is about 20 minutes from me. So, yeah, it's very relatable to me.
Oh, that's good. Good. Pablo is impatient drivers whack.
Yeah, man. They're very whack. Especially ones where if you're on a long road and you're both at the same red light 20 times, like what are you driving fast for? We're all getting the same spot. I got cut off last night like 3 times. So I hate it. I don't get it. It's even worse now where people are following the GPS and it tells them to make a left when they didn't think they were supposed to make a left. And they're trying to follow the phone now and navigate traffic at the same time. It's horrible. I can't wait till we have automatic autonomous driving cars and we don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah. I'm all for it. Whack.
Yeah. Gene, relatable? Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it's whack. It's whack. Just, slow down, chill out, basically, you can kill people, pure and simple.
The worst part is you were getting cut off by George Strait fans.
Right. That was the worst part. I was so angry. You know what?
It's over now.
So I didn't want to relive it.
It's over.
I thought
Let
it would
it
be
go.
good content. Right. I'm done with it.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. Could have been Justin Bieber fans or like
Mhm.
Yeah.
Styles.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. 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 So yeah. Hey, go ahead, Gene. What, you got something to say, dude? What's up?
Well, it's my turn for what's whack there, if I may.
Oh, we
Parker.
was gonna skip yours.
No,
I
no
know.
way.
You
just
keep trying to do that.
Gene,
All right. Yeah.
give me a second.
Okay. Oh,
Where's he
host with the
going?
most.
Hold on,
The
hold
host
on.
with the
All
most.
right,
What you doing?
We
I
get
was
an
gonna
honoured
go do
guest.
something, but you know what? Go ahead, Gene.
Piss in the cup, man. Piss in the cup. We've told you 3 times. Okay.
This
I don't
ball's
drive.
crazy, man. Oh, is that a Popeyes cup?
No, it's just a
Oh,
red.
yeah. I thought that was a Popeyes cup. No wonder you got to piss.
A lot of
Okay.
pee.
As I've said earlier, I don't drive. I take public transport. And one thing, I take trains a lot here in Brisbane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I cannot stand, which is becoming more and more frequent, is taking your phone and thinking that it's your own personal entertainment system and you're at home sitting in the lounge. First of all, you can basically just play it, no headphones, yeah? And then you can just rap along badly to whatever, track you're listening to. You can have super duper loud phone calls. You've got 10 of your mates and you're all having a sing-song. Basically, some people bring in Bluetooth speakers now onto the train and have a little party. It's just, just put your headphones in, shut up, look forward, and just let everyone be at peace. No one wants to be on the train. We've all got somewhere to go, and just keep your own shit to yourself. Yeah. Sure. Is that relatable to anyone at all?
Once in a while, it's relatable to me. Not usually though, because I'm usually just driving to places, but so I'm not really into public transport like that, like I used to be prior to my car years or whatever. But I have ran into it a couple of times. It's relatable. Go ahead.
Paco?
Yeah, Pablo. You keep confusing our names, dude.
I know. You're gonna have to switch your name if I come back on, Paco. You're gonna have to switch your name.
I'm sorry.
It's not relatable now because of A, I got a whip, and B, I mean, I'm not
sure.
I'm working from home, so I'm not even driving any much more anyway. But in high school, I lived on trains, lived on what we have here, SEPTA. Horrible public transportation. It was just rowdy. It was never loud on those things, and sometimes it was us with like radios blaring. I mean, it's funny that we would blare like Public Enemy, like on the L, and no one would mess with us.
Well, that would be okay.
and now it's like it's way out of control. I mean, I would probably take the train over the L, which are 2 different classes of type of trains in the Philly.
Yeah.
I'm jealous when I see those footage of like the Asian public transportation where they're all super quiet and then no one's talking to one another. I'm like so jealous of that because that's like doesn't happen in Chicago, doesn't happen in Philly, doesn't happen in New York. It's just like madness, man. Madness, chaos. And now there's like no rules where before used to be scared of like the SEPTA cops. I don't know what happened to them, but like people just do whatever the fuck they want anymore. It's wild.
Okay. We do have security guards on the trains, but literally their only job is to tell people to take their feet off the seats. That's all they do. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie, relatable.
No,
I'll be right back. My kid's at the door. Hold on one second.
No, like here, public transportation is not a big thing. Everything's kind of spread out. So no, but I can definitely see that. When I lived in Europe, everybody was kind of respectable about it. Like just kept to yourself. No one was all about like blasting stuff on the train or the bus. So definitely can see that thing.
I mean, but how is it like when you're in public places? I know the streets are another thing. I mean, you guys are in America. It's getting crazier down here. We're getting more homeless on the streets. The streets are getting not to the point of, I would say, violent, but it's certainly verging on that. Yeah. But when people are like, say, in public places, like they're in a supermarket, you're in a restaurant, that sort of thing, are people respecting each other's spaces, or is that slowly beginning to go out the window? If you know what I mean. Just curious as a non-American.
Here it depends because I live right by the border. I'm in El Paso, so there's a lot of stuff going on over here that like is super political, and like we have a lot of refugees that come across from like Mexico and other South American countries. So here our homeless population is like skyrocketing, but it's not causing like crime to increase. It's more of, you know, what are we going to do with these people that are in our town that don't have anywhere to go? You know,
Okay.
so for us, it's more, you know, yeah. That's all I can say because of the job that I have. I can't really say.
Yeah, understood. Yeah. No, understood.
Well,
Understood. Yeah.
What was your, you know, it's whack? I was not here for that.
It was the noise on trains, basically not respecting other people's, you know, space on, you know, on public transport. It was just, I was just riffing off that while you were going to take a piss, adopt a child, whatever you were doing there.
Paco.
Yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. Did you say you know it's whack?
Yeah, I did. Remember stealing from my nursing station?
Oh, yeah, so
I
whack.
think we've gone
It's
round.
so
We've
forgettable.
gone round.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Basically, we can get into another segment. You guys want? If you got time, you guys got time for one more?
Yes, sir.
I got time.
Wonderful. Here, just I don't know where I came up with this one. It's called recommendations. Basically, go ahead and Pablo, you look very excited. Why don't we go ahead and start?
Please.
I got two. One is what they say apropos to what we're talking about now. It's a book that Vinny Paz gave me called "Don't Rhyme for the Sake of Ritalin" by Russell Meyer, the authorized story of Public Enemy.
Okay.
Oh
okay.
wow, that's.
I mean,
fantastic.
if you want to know everything that happened, what we just talked about, the real story, get this book. Now, I read it last year and I forget half of it, so I can't recite any of it. But this is about people that were there for everything. And you're going to hear some nice things, and you're going to hear some not so nice things about the people you look up to. But it basically tells the story on how all these albums were made up to like 10 years ago, I guess, where like Chuck's streaming on like radio stream or whatever. But if you're a Public Enemy fan, it's a must-have. Really dope book. The second one, the funny one, is cartoon that just came out, Justice League vs. Ruby, Superheroes and Huntsman Part 1. It's a DC cartoon, animated movie. Stuff I like to watch on the weekends when I'm just trying to chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this, like Ruby Red. I think she's like Japanime or something. But now that I'm hip, I'm trying to like watch movies about her and her crew and whatever. And it's like a team up. I'm a mark for team ups. I'm a mark for more than one superhero in a movie or show. Like, that's why I like the Justice League, even though everyone hated it. X-Men was dope because there was like 5-10 people in it. Like, I love team ups. So this Justice League versus Ruby is really good cartoon, really well done. It's like superhero plus anime. So it's dope.
And what's it called one more time?
Justice League and Ruby. And Ruby is like RWBY.
RWBY.
And then the title's called Superheroes and Huntsman Part 1. So they did leave it off a cliffhanger a little bit. Where they're two worlds kind of mold. I don't want to ruin it, but the two worlds is Justice League and this Ruby. Their worlds mold together and they have to fight the enemy, but then they got to figure out now, why are we even fighting this thing in the first place? I guess that's Part 2.
Yeah.
Really dope, really well done cartoon. Peep it.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably watch it. Gene, do you have any recommendations? Okay, go ahead, Gene. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Podcast recommendation. I'm the non-American here, Australia. If you want to learn a little bit about Australia, the weird shit of Australia, listen to Weird Crap in Australia. Yeah, it talks about true crime. It talks about cryptids. It talks about Ozploitation movies, the most famous ever being Mad Max and the Mad Max series, of course.
Can you tell me what I never heard that word before?
Ozploitation.
Yeah, what is that?
So Australia, AUS, Oz,
okay.
And it'll be with an O and a Z. That's just an Australian thing, yeah. So exploitation, but Australian exploitation. And so they're exploitation films from Australia, which were very big in the late 70s and early 80s. and Mad Max is the most famous one. They did that, that's the one they spread across.
Are we
the
talking
globe,
about like the
basically.
Mad Max and then like Paul Hogan series? Is that considered that too?
Crocodile.
That's all we know. That's
No,
all
no.
we know in America is Mad Max and Paul Hogan with the knife. Crocodile Dundee, yes.
Yeah. That is
And Yahoo
Australia
Serious.
goes Hollywood.
Yeah, that was Yahoo Serious. That's third.
Sure,
And that's
sure,
it.
sure.
That's all that happened in Australia as far as we know in America.
Razorback's a good one. It's a movie about a giant boar, about a giant pig that runs rampage in the Australian outback. That's another classic Ozploitation movie.
Okay, give me another one.
Look up. Okay. You've got Mad Max, you've got Razorback, you've got Wake and Fright. Yeah, this is one of the earliest Ozploitation films. Basically, there's an English teacher who's in the outback. He wants to go home to Britain for 6 months. He gets stuck in a small town, and he goes on a drinking binge with basically these Australian, what's a good word, rednecks, hillbillies, our equivalent over here. And he gets caught up in a 2-week-long drinking binge, loses all his money, loses all his possessions, loses his job. And it really highlights basically what happens in rural Australia, the issues with alcohol, the issues with racism. And this movie came out at a time when Australia just wanted to ignore all that, sweep it under the carpet, and try and be a country that's, connected to the rest of the world. Hey, we are civilized, we are cultivated, whilst trying to forget about all of this. So scrap the podcast. The movie is called Wake and Fright, and you'll be able to get it on the internet. Yeah.
Word up. Yeah. Thank you.
So Wake and Fright is the movie, right?
Yes.
I'll probably watch that because podcast.
He didn't say wake and bake, Paco. He said wake and fright. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, I'm a bit slow.
But I digress. That wasn't Gene's recommendation. His recommendation was
Weird Crap in Australia.
Weird Crap in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're a nation of convicts on one of the oldest pieces of land on the earth. Weird shit happens here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. Let me interrupt. I just wanted to ask Gene real quick too, like because everyone can go back to their lineage to a criminal. So like, we have like 23andMe here. We have ancestry.com. Like, is that big over there just so you guys can figure out like who your initial lineage is?
We don't really bother because we know basically.
Okay.
Like we were basically the poor Brits and the Irish, some Scottish, mostly Irish, who were sent over here just to basically just get rid of us. Yeah.
Just get out. Yeah.
Just get out. Yeah. And basically that is the majority of our lineage here to this day.
So you know your lineage then?
Yeah. I'm German / Irish. Yeah.
But do you know like family names going far back to like who was the first dude that got exiled?
No.
Like your great grandfather Rob stole some bread, and you know why, like that.
I don't know their name, but
okay.
I'm pretty damn sure that they did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that happened to all of us.
Yeah.
So St. Patrick's Day is huge here, even though I've got major issues, major beef heat with that day. But yeah, it is huge down here. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering if everyone played into that, like the DNA testing, you guys would just have like this huge database of
it's not so
200
much.
people that got to Australia.
Yeah, sure. Others may do. I don't myself.
Okay.
But we don't have the cultural, the ethnic melting pot that you guys do there in America. Yeah. It's pretty much the whites, the indigenous, what you may know as Aborigines, and then lots and lots of Asians. Yeah, because of the proximity. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
To Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Welcome.
I learned something today. I appreciate it. It was well worth it.
Welcome.
Yeah. That's wonderful. It's great. Ronnie, do you have a recommendation? Oh, by the way, I was taking the time to subscribe to that podcast, so it's on my list.
Yes.
Excellent. Cool.
Ronnie, go ahead and give us a recommendation, man.
Don't really have anything super that I recommend at this moment. Like, I feel like, I like Gene's recommendation. I'm really interested in subscribing to Pablo's podcast. If we can put that.
Oh man, you haven't heard that? Look out, buddy. Look out.
It's a good time.
So
Appreciate it though.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna subscribe to that when we get off here and probably binge listen. That's my I think my biggest downfall is when I find a new podcast, I'll go back and listen to like 10 or 15 episodes in a row.
These are sometimes 3-4 hours long.
Yeah, man, we don't mess around. We have like 3-hour podcasts. So if you're
Yeah.
like dudes that we know that like work in construction or whatever, they're like, it's the best thing ever because you got me for half my day.
Yeah.
But for someone that's casually driving to work 45 minutes, they'll listen to their first 45 and maybe not come back. So it's like it's short.
Well, if I can listen to JRE like at work, I can definitely listen to this. So
yeah.
Well, I think we need to do it there, Paco. You know, we brought you on. Thank you very much. You know, really, myself and Pablo and Ronny, you know, we're honored to have you here. Broad Street Breakdown. It's one of my favorites of all time. Did you want to plug at all while you're here?
Oh, we're just gonna skip my recommendation. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah,
your recommendation's whack, man. We don't care about your recommendation. That's what he just said to me on chat. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
What do you got? What do you got, Paco?
Oh, okay. You know what?
He's off mic.
Just you know, I recommend the Kill Tony books. If you like Kill Tony podcast, you know, it's just all the art, you know, from the comics that were on the show. You know, they do a new picture every episode of Kill Tony. So I recommend that if you like it. All right, now you can close it out, Gene. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me my 15 seconds while you had 34 hours. Go ahead, Gene. Thank you. I'm just kidding. It's all good. I really didn't have anything. I just grabbed that. You know.
Yeah, Paco, did you want to plug at all?
No.
You're here?
Ask Pablo if he wants to plug, though.
Sorry.
I know what he meant. But I wanted you to say something, Paco. I just like the way you hold your microphone. You don't have a stand. You're a podcaster without a stand. It's pretty admirable.
You know, I think outside the box.
Pablo. I love it.
I appreciate your
200%.
appreciation of me. Yeah, thank you.
I love it. I got nothing to plug. I mean, you know, us, Broad Street Breakdown. We do our episodes when we do them. Vinny's got one to Knock Him Out the Box podcast. It's straight up boxing. There's no bullshit. It's real boxing analytics. That's not weighed here or there. It's legit. So I mean, I work on that for him, not as as talent, as behind the scenes. Really good if you're in the boxing. If you're you know, it's boxing, so don't think it's like them busting balls like BSB. It's not that, but it's a really good podcast if you're a true sports fan of that.
Yeah.
If you're in Philly, please get tattooed at Crescent Street Tattoo. That's where me and the OG are all weekend. Dope spot. Gimmick Gangers, thanks all for listening for all the years. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't have done it without you. I mean, at the height, we had heavy numbers, man, when we were doing this shit every week in and week out. So I mean, we definitely felt it. We felt the love. Right. So appreciate it all. That's all I got. You know, jmtstore.com. If, like I said, when you buy stuff off Vinny, then he buys me dinner. So it pays, it's paying it forward. So you buy some JMT merch. And, and thanks for everyone that came out on the tour, the Last Jedi tour, celebrities and fans. Every night sold out. The backstage was wild, crazy. Seeing people I haven't seen in years, but people that, you know, we started working on this shit in the 90s. So just all the people that came out was awesome. Dope. Appreciate it.
Right. That's wonderful.
And thanks for having me on, you guys. It was a lot of fun.
You know, I thank you for coming on.
No,
man.
It was my pleasure. It's just, you know, as long as the time frame can work out, you know, because we're all in different time zones, you know, I'm down for whatever, you know.
All right. You know, maybe I could recommend an album that you listen to and we talk about it.
Sure.
You know, I would love that.
Sure.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Paco, hey, shout out to Paco.
All right. So basically, we're going to end the show, man. Thank you, Pablo, again for your cheapo tip.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh, it was great meeting all you guys, and not in person, in video. I had a great time.
Awesome.
She was banging.
Yeah.
She was banging.
Right.
I respect your hip hop knowledge, so it's good chatting with somebody.
Thank you.
Right.
I mean, not that Gene doesn't know anything about hip hop, but
no, Gene.
It's all perspective, man. It's all perspective. When you heard it, your age, your geographical location. I mean, it's important. You know, it's important, and there's things that you don't know. So it's great to speak about it.
It's a lot of unknowns. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
All right, everybody.